I know this is working and I don't have to adjust anything? Okay, great. Perfect. I see all of you there. Okay, thank you. Great. Well, my name is Caitlin Saposi Belknap. I know many of you. I live in Eureka, California, and I'm the field coordinator for Move to Amend nationally, and I work with Democracy Unlimited, which is one of the Move to Amend coalition partners. And I'm really excited to be doing this webinar with all of you. Before we get started, I just want to get a sense of kind of who's in the room. So if folks would just take a second to answer the question in the poll on your screen, what your involvement with Move to Amend is, we'll get a sense of who's here. Okay, so it looks like there's a pretty good spread. There are a number of you who are already active with Move to Amend affiliates, and then there are also some new folks here. So I'm going to kind of set this up and walk through the site in a way that is helpful to both the new folks and the folks who are going to be using the site as an organizing tool for your work in your local community. And I should remind you all who are part of affiliates that this is not a training on how to update the website for your affiliate page or the other pieces that you'll be able to play a role in contributing to the site. We will do that training over the next couple weeks when we actually launch. This is just a sneak preview so you can see all the pieces. And so stay tuned for details about when that training will be and how we'll do it. But in the meantime, we just want to show it to you because we're really excited and we wanted you all to see it first before it launches live. So I do want to just really quickly also give a big shout out to Heather Alt, who's actually sitting here right next to me as our graphic designer. I've worked with Heather for a number of different projects. She's been a volunteer and consultant with Democracy Unlimited and some of the other coalition organizations, and she's an excellent graphic designer. All of the graphics that you're seeing on the site were designed by her with my help. And also Jeanette Day, who's not here, she's in Madison, Wisconsin, is our Drupal developer, and she is responsible for all the stuff in the back that is making this work. And it's a pretty sophisticated website. So both of those two women were huge in making this new site and will continue to be. And then also Paul Benson and Alana Stewart and Alex Hayes are also here. They're our interns for this term, and they've been helping move a lot of the content over and also developing the toolkit. And also Terry Grinfainer, who is Democracy Unlimited administrative staff, has also been giving a lot of feedback on this whole process. So we're lucky in that we have been in existence for 2 years, and so we have a ton of really good feedback already on the site over the years. And we went into this redesign really with a clear sense ahead of time of how people wanted to use the site and how it wasn't working as well as they wanted it to, and some of the features that people wanted to see. So we really strove to apply as much of that as we could, and then also had some of our own ideas, which involve a lot of the look and feel, and just wanting to have more people on the site, because unfortunately that's one of the things that our current site, which will only be current for another week, is kind of lacking, and that's one of the real strengths of Move to Amend. So we wanted to showcase that in this new site. So I'm going to dive right in. You've been looking at the front of the home page for the last several minutes. I do have another screen next to me to give me a sense of how fast things are moving for you, but bear with me if the technology has a bit of a delay on your end. I'll try as much as possible to do this in a way so that we're both, we're talking about this while you're looking at it. And if you do have questions or comments, you can chat them Right now they're coming just to me. I'll probably take most of the questions toward the end, but I'll kind of keep an eye on that as much as possible, so that I'll stop and if there's something that's relevant to the page that we're on, I will try to address that question while we're there. So in theory, the page should be moving down right now, and it isn't. Doesn't look like it's doing that for you all yet. But there's a lot of things that we tried to incorporate some look from the old site so that people wouldn't be completely discombobulated when they showed up to the new Move to Amend website. So, the header is still really very much the same, and our logo we decided to keep. We considered redoing that, but decided not to. And there it moves. We also, some of the headings at the top also, and kind of the way the front page works with the announcements that are most current showing up at the bottom to give people a sense of what's going on with the campaign, are how we set up the front page. And the order materials little thing that you see on the side, and the Facebook, all of that was to try and make it so that people would still be able to orient themselves to the site and not feel completely confused. We do have a really different footer down here at the bottom, and we'll get there in just a second. We wanted this to be another place where people could easily find their way, and a lot of current websites use a big footer like this these days. And then we also wanted to put in a featured affiliate, which will be a new feature that will update periodically, just to highlight some of the awesome work that is happening with our Move to Amend affiliates. Right now we have over 75, or almost to 80, and we might even be over 80 by the time the site actually launches, because there are several in the queue. And you all and they all are doing amazing work out in the field, and so we wanted a way for people to quickly just get a quick snapshot, and then every featured affiliate will be, you'll be able to see these from the past too as they start to add up. So right here we just have a picture of Salt Lake City, Utah, which is in the midst of a petition drive, as you can see from the news item up above, and they really hit the ground running with their brand new affiliate. And so we thought we'd start with a shout out to them to encourage them as they're running this campaign. We also wanted to have more places that people could get a sense of what Move to Amend is, because some of the feedback that we've gotten is that actually that's not necessarily easy to find on our site. So that's there at the bottom, and then I'm going to start diving in by going up to the top, and this whole Move to Amend coalition section at the very top is all kind of to help people get oriented to who we are at Move to Amend and what our principles are and what we're doing. So one thing that broke today just before we launched this, and I'm not quite sure what happened, but I'm going to show you in a second here there you go, the drop down there, and there also will be a list of all of our affiliates, and that was there and working, and somehow it just disappeared, I realized right before I came on. So rather than panicking and messing with that, it'll be back. So this will give people a sense of who's on the national leadership team, which is something we get asked a lot. These are the folks who are from the organizations that launched Move to Amend initially, and kind of the core coalition partners. And there are also a few at-large folks on the executive committee, which is what we internally call the national leadership team. And then we have, I'm not going to click it now, but in Move to Amend Coalition, there'll be some details kind of about our principles of, grassroots democracy and systemic social change and constitutional renewal that goes beyond just this constitutional amendment, but some of the principles that are driving why we're doing this in the first place. And then, like I said, our affiliates will be mentioned. And I just want to quickly click on the endorsing organizations, because this list is ever changing and getting more and more organizations added to it all the time. And so this is on the old site too, but this will be a place where everybody can sign on and You can see, the hundreds of folks that are really part of this coalition, and then each organization will have a little page where they'll have a little bit of information about them. So again, to kind of get a sense of who it is that's behind and supportive of Move to Amend. So now you can see what it looks like on an internal page. That slider graphic goes away, and we're really emphasizing we the people. That was something that Heather and I are really excited about, claiming the Constitution in those words. And there's a lot of work that you all have already been doing that fits with that, and so we felt like that was really on message with what we already have going on. Just to go back to the home page, and one little quick tip that a lot of you have asked for, which is a real straightforward thing, but is for the logo to actually be, you can click the logo and get to the home page. So I know that our current site has a lot of ways that it can be hard to get back to home. So we're trying to make that as easy as possible for folks. And then just a quick run through of the rest of this toolbar. So announcements, you already saw the most recent 3, which will be on the bottom of the front page. We'll also have all the press coverage kind of split out from that. So articles mentioning Move to Amend and about our work will go there. Both announcements and press coverage will be features that affiliates will also get to post to your pages, and I'll show you those soon. Upcoming events, you already know how that is. It'll be a calendar just like it works on our current site. We'll have a archive of our blasts, our emails that we send out, and then this is also where folks can find the list of the featured affiliates and get a flavor for what the affiliates are doing and some of their highlights of their work. The Get Involved section is really where a lot of the materials are that people use the most, and so we wanted to make it really easy by having a drop-down, and obviously sign the petition and endorsing Move to Amend are obvious, but we're going to use a setup that we're calling Move to Amend Action Campaigns, which will give people a really clear sense of what we have going on the national level that they can participate in, and you as affiliates can participate in. That's things like Occupy the Courts and the House Party effort that we did last year. We've done a Declaration of Independence against corporate rule on the 4th of July, so we'll do that again. So all those sorts of things will be a good way for people to see right away all the different ways that they could plug in. We really did a lot of work on our toolkit, and I'll go through some of that in just a little bit. And then also Find Move to Amend near you, I'll show you that in a moment too, is where we'll have a map that you can see kind of all the different folks who are connected with Move to Amend that are near you. So not just the affiliates, but also the partner and endorsing organizations, as well as people who are hosting events and resolutions that have passed. All be in one place on a map. In Learn More, we've kind of got the obvious stuff, the frequently asked questions. We'll have recommended reading, so that'll be articles that will update regularly, and the very important standbys that we generate about the issue and related topics. And then links and resources will be a place that we don't have right now, just letting people know about other organizations that have similar work, and also a list of videos and movies that people can check out and affiliates can screen, which is something that you've asked about a bunch. So we'll keep that list updated as well. And then the Media Center is mostly geared for members of the press and how to find out how to get a hold of us and see our press releases. But of course, that'll be relevant and useful for others as well, and that's where we'll hold our photos and our videos too. And then my screen is going a lot faster than yours, but just to keep it moving, the amendment link there will also go straight to the amendment, and then we have the amendment comparison as a drop-down right underneath that. And that's something that right now is a little bit hard to find and is one of the key things that people ask for. We did a fair amount of work and will continue to kind of track the different amendment proposals and that is something that is really important, and people ask for all the time, so we wanted to put it, right, accessible from every page. So that's kind of the orientation to the top. Unfortunately, my screen is going a little bit slow, so I'll just add that you can see that there's a search bar at the top, and we've done a little bit more work to make sure that that is really useful. And I'm pleased to say that's working pretty well. So I think it'll be a lot easier to find things that you're looking for through the search, and also we've tried to make it so that everything is accessible by multiple different ways, kind of however your brain might think about that article that you saw. We want to try and get it into your screen. And then at the bottom, you can kind of see peeking out. Unfortunately, my screen is there, but that's sort of the delay of these photos here. Is where you can choose to look at content via state pages and also the local affiliate pages. So I'm not going to dive right into there quite yet, but it'll be a really nice way for affiliates to update their pages, and then all of that content will feed onto their state pages as well. So let's go ahead and go into Find Move to Amend Near You, which is the map, which isn't completely finished yet, so I'm not going to show you all the pieces, and it isn't going to look exactly like this. We still have a few more days in terms of our own deadline, but with this, you all are all probably pretty familiar with the map that we have that shows resolutions, and also many of you often ask about the map where we have our affiliates. So we're going to keep those features because they're really popular, but we want to make it so that somebody can really see where they are, or maybe a friend in another part of the country, all that's going on with Move to Amend near them. And the resolutions and the affiliates are one piece, but when they're in different places, it's kind of hard to find that. And then also, we have tons of events that are happening all over the country, and we also have all of these organizations that have endorsed the campaign. So this will be a really good tool for folks, especially as they're getting started and trying to find allies near them who have in some way or another already had an interaction or work with the Move to Amend campaign. And then also for journalists to see the work that's happening near them. That's something we get a lot. And then for all of you all to see. So the intention is for this to be something that you can kind of turn off and on the different layers rather than necessarily always seeing them all together, which will make it easier to scroll in and see really what's near you. Obviously these bubbles make it a little hard. When you click on them, they will give you a little pop-up about what they are, and then you can kind of go in that way too. So I'm going to just click on one of the organizations that's an endorsing organization, and you can see, and then that's a link that'll go to their bio on our site. And if you on an event, then you would see that. And if you click on our affiliates, right now there's not a lot of information there, just the name, town, and state that they're in, but we'll have the actual name of the organization. That link that takes you to their page. So I want to spend most of the time kind of running through the action campaigns, because since there are several new folks on this call, want to make sure that you all know about what's coming up. And for some of our affiliates, actually, we haven't even had a chance to tell you about some of these efforts either. So you can ignore the placeholder text right there, but this will be a place where folks can easily see the current work that we're doing on the national level that will touch down in communities, because we do have a real emphasis on grassroots organizing. So those of you who have been working with us definitely know already that all of our national campaigns really are about a local component and providing a way for local communities to get involved in the effort. So that's not going to go away. In fact, we're going to just enhance that through this new website tool. So you can see some of the things that are on here now, and in the future, when we launch, this will actually have a place where you can see the past campaigns as well, so they don't just disappear, but they'll actually be captured so that somebody can see an archive of what we've done before. So here are just some of the highlights coming up that we've plugged in. This May is the 126th anniversary of the Supreme Court ruling Santa Clara County versus Southern Pacific Railroad. And yes, last year we used it as an opportunity to really up our numbers of signatures on the Move to Amend petition. And so we're going to do that again this year, and this will be the kind of effort where individuals really can, at an easy level, participate without having to form a whole new organization in their local community, but it's to help us collect signatures. We do have a goal this year to get 500,000 signatures by the next Citizens United anniversary in January next year, and so we're going to have a couple different things along the way to kind of do benchmarks for that campaign. So for May, we're going to try to get up to 250,000, and there'll be materials in this area for how folks can do that. On July 4th, as we did last year, we're going to have a national call to action to declare your independence from corporate rule, and we've already got some interest from Occupy groups and several other national organizations in joining in our call. And so what's here right now are the materials from last year, but we'll be updating those over the weekend, and we're just looking to encourage folks to participate in their 4th of July actions, like parades or street festivals, and do community education and public education about Move to Amend and corporate personhood, and the campaign to amend the Constitution. So you can see some of these ideas that our affiliates have done in other places already, and then each one of these things is actually now linked to our toolkit, which I'll run through in a little bit, to make it really easy for people to find all of these things. So one of the features about our current site is that in order to find these sorts of tools, you really have to get into the pages and figure out how to get what you want that way, and kind of remember what page you were on and where things were. And so we're really trying to get away from that now and make it so that it's very easy to find the tools and they're not buried. Let's see. Occupy the Courts right now is sitting in the current action campaigns, but as soon as the date thing gets going by the end of this week, it'll go in the archive, and so we'll have a report, but you can see kind of some of the photos from the actions around the country. House parties for democracy are going to be an ongoing feature, and it's going to be a really great way for new groups to get started and new people to plug in with the campaign. So periodically, we'll send blasts to our national list encouraging folks to hold house parties, and this will be something that's on the front page of the site all the time. And this is going to link to all of our materials on kind of how to get started. And so we're encouraging folks to get started by holding house parties in their local communities, which I know a number of you did for our anniversary effort last year. And we got really good feedback that that was a very successful and comfortable way for people to begin plugging in with the campaign. So we're, in the next few months, going to work to have a video that people can use as an orientation. We don't quite have that yet, but in the meantime, there are a number of materials and kind of an agenda for your first meeting and kind of a kit to get started that we will use to make it easy for people to get going using house parties. Sorry, one of my computers just totally crashed, so I'll look at it over here. That was distracting. The barnstorming tours, hopefully that doesn't, they're all. Give me 1 second here, folks, sorry. Okay, there it is. I'm still here, great. So the barnstorming tours, we wanted to put front and center. That's how many of you have come into the Move to Amend campaign, through the work that primarily David Cobb has been doing, just because he's in a life position to be able to tour, because at Democracy Unlimited we've reoriented work to be this. And also he gives a hell of a good speech. So he is our primary spokesperson. And so this year we really want to be proactive about making the most of this barnstorming effort and his time and the resources we're putting into that. And so we actually have our schedule for the year largely mapped out in terms of which states he'll be in. And the particulars of the cities, we work with folks on the ground to determine. But this will be a place where folks can easily see what's coming up and plan well in advance for how to connect with the campaign by hosting someone on the ground. And the other folks who are doing the barnstorming, including some executive committee members besides David, and then also a few other folks, we'll plug them into the schedule as well, so that people can really easily see when we'll be in your town. And then this will also connect to the calendar too, so that if you're on the calendar, once the events are locked in, you'll be able to see that way as well. Back button in order to maximize what you all see on the screen, so I'm having to get back to the main action page. Okay, so sorry for the delay on there. So, March of the Monahans is something that was on our site a while ago, and we thought it was kind of a shame that it sort of disappeared just because there wasn't really a place to put it in the old structure. So I want to shout out to Robin Monahan, who is on this webinar right now, he and his brother Laird, and I didn't see if Laird might be here too. Oftentimes he joins these webinars. Robin and Laird are from Minnesota, and they traveled from one coast to the other in 2010, spreading the word about the Move to Amend campaign. That was an effort that they completely initiated themselves, and was very inspiring, and they reached a lot of folks along the way, and so we wanted to document that and show that. So this will show up in one of our past campaign efforts, but it'll be on this page, and about the work that they did. And then Resolutions Week is going to actually be launching this week. Timing isn't perfect for us given the website launch, but we'll be partnering with Public Citizen and a number of other organizations to really try and up the ante on the resolutions effort that we already have underway and we've been working on for the last 2 years. Many of you have already worked on resolutions campaigns, because that's one of our primary strategies, to take this issue to the American public. So for Resolutions Week, we're going to kind of concentrate it a bit, and in mid-June, we're looking to have 100 cities and towns either adopt resolutions, or we're still continuing to really push for folks to do resolutions via the ballot initiative process. And as we get later into the year, the window for doing citizens initiatives, where citizens collect signatures to get something on the ballot, is closing, but city councils in a number of places still have the power to put initiatives on the ballot themselves. So as the window closes for citizens initiatives, we'll be turning to encourage folks to get their city councils to put measures on the ballot, declaring the support for a constitutional amendment to abolish corporate personhood and the doctrine of money as free speech. And this will be an awesome way to get the issue in front of potentially millions of people this November. So Public Citizen is emphasizing more just the city council resolutions, and as you know, we've had a number of Move to Amend groups work on those before, so we're certainly not opposed to those, but whenever folks have capacity, we'll be providing as much support as possible to have it put on the ballot. But either way, we'll be working together and doing a number of support conference calls and sending blasts to our list, and a number of other organizations will be doing that as well to encourage new people to pick up this resolutions mantle, and we'll hopefully have at least 100 places that will be considering it in June. So stay tuned for details about that. The details honestly really just came together, but it is launching really soon. So we'll be sending something to our list this week about it, and if you're interested in participating, you can sign up there and get a sense of what support materials will have and how you can get started. And then 500,000 signatures, there's not a lot there yet, but by the time we go public, this has to be plugged in. As I said, our goal is to get to 500,000 signatures by next January, and so we'll have a number of ways to emphasize how people can participate in helping collect petitions and spreading the word about Move to Amend and our movement. So I'm going to just show you real quick now, what time are we at? We're still good. The state pages and the affiliate pages. So if you, up here in this picker, my screen's delaying, but you'll be there in a minute, you can see, you know, every state, and folks will be able to pick their state and then get a sense of the work that is going on in their state by affiliates. And I'll wait for a moment while you all get there. So the content that's on these state pages will be fed there automatically via the posts that you all will be making to your local pages. And then at the national level, we also can make updates to the state pages too. So, for example, I didn't go to the Vermont page, but in Vermont, tomorrow, 50 plus cities will be, well, actually it's been going on since Friday, so over the last few days, and mostly culminating tomorrow, over 50 towns will have their town meetings, will have resolutions on their town meeting docket, and we worked with them to do that, and also Public Citizen and US PIRG and the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, and so I posted something to the national page about that, and that would feed automatically onto Vermont. So, but right now we're looking at Missouri, and the content here is just to give you a sense. So this is content that's been put in for the Kansas City, Missouri Move to Amend group, and they have a great website right now. They're excited to bring that all over into this website, but they've been doing a really good job of keeping announcements out there and doing events, and so I pulled their content to show you. Just the kind of things that you can post on your affiliate page, and then they'll show up on the state pages too. And then on the right-hand side, you can see all events, and then if you were to click that View All Events button, you'd go to what we're hoping will not be a list as it is right now, but a calendar where you can see by state the meetings and events going on. So then I want to show you the affiliate pages and go to mock-up. That is Kansas City's, and if my screen goes by too fast, oh, there, you can see it. I'm just picking the right one, and then here we are. So this is what more or less all of your affiliate pages will look like. You'll have the opportunity to have your own local logo, and this is just one that we quickly put together as a placeholder for Kansas City. A little description, short description about your group and things that you want to highlight. Obviously the contact information so that people can find you. You'll be able to post your events directly, and then you'll also be able to post your local partners and the folks that you're working with in your community, whether it's part of a resolutions campaign that you're doing, or just folks who have passed the resolution for their organization in support of Move to Amend, or maybe they just have endorsed you. And below that, right now, it's not on this page, but you'll also be able to post your own Facebook feed, so that people, if you have a Facebook page, I'm pretty sure that if you have a group, you may not be able to do the posting of the feed. I'm still looking into exactly how that works, but I know that it's true for the Facebook pages. And then if you don't want to do that, you can also, there's also the place where you can put just a link to your Facebook page. And then the top 3 announcements that you post will be here, and then there'll be a way for everyone to see all the rest of them and see the archive, and then any press coverage on your group will also, right now there's only 1 story here at the bottom, but it'll have up to 3, just like the announcements there. So we're really going to encourage you to, like Kansas City has been doing with their website, to post images and to make the site more colorful and to have more people in the posts that you do. There'll also be a way for you to have a account on Flickr that we can initially set up for you and then hand over to you, so that you can just upload your pictures to Flickr, and then it's not showing right here, but there would be a little module at the bottom of every page, right here, along the bottom bar, where people can see your photos as a teaser and then click in to see more of them. And then just to make sure everyone saw that at the top, this sort of mini menu right here, I can catch up to you, or you catch up to my computer, however that should be said. Come on. There we go. Up here at the top is a little mini menu, basically for your page. So the intention is, as I've been saying to all of you who are affiliates, you will basically be able to use this like your website. And ideally, this can replace your website so that you won't need to have a separate site. And I think that it'll also be possible if you have a domain like Kansas City Move to Amend or Kansas City MTA, you could actually have that point right here. The details of that might have to come a little bit later, but I think that is going to be doable. So we're also really open to expanding this as we go, to add more features to make this so that it really can function as your website. But as you can see here now live, the value of that, one, your content feeds automatically onto the state page. And so if that's how somebody comes in to find you, they could do that way. But then also, all of our menus up here, this is still housed within our site. So for a user, from a user's perspective, it makes it a lot easier to understand what's going on with Move to Amend and how it connects to their local community, rather than having to jump from one site to the other. Or I know that many of you who have sites have been pulling content off of the national page because, of course, you want to have that additional info available to people who are visiting your site, and that's a chore, and then also you can miss things. And so this just makes it much easier for a user to be able to stay right here, and maybe they want to, go straight from Kansas City to a national action campaign, and they don't have to go look on the Move to Amend national site and figure out how to do that in a different place. I'll just stay right here. So the last thing that I think I have that I just wanted to walk you through was the toolkit, because that is something that we've put a lot of time and thought into, and we've gotten a lot of feedback over the years on it, and many of you use it all the time, and it's something that is it either helps people plug in with the campaign, or it's a hindrance to their ability to plug in with the campaign. And so we wanted to really make it front and center. So it's linked on every page that has this menu bar here, and it's also up in the Get Involved section as well under the drop down. And we'll go to icon. And not all the pieces are totally in here yet, so I'm going to spare you walking through all of them. You'll get to discover that next week when we launch. But what we do have is a table of contents on the side, and then the pages will be here on the left. So this is just the introduction, explaining really why we put an emphasis on local organizing to build our national movements. There'll be a bunch of materials on starting a Move to Amend affiliate group and related, kind of having your first meeting, affiliating, getting your structure in place and your internal communication, and then a number of materials on taking action and participating in campaigns. So a lot of the action campaigns that I walked you through before will reference over here. And as more tools are developed, they will obviously come in and fit in their areas. And then kind of the niftiest thing, and I think the most thing that makes this the most user-friendly, is this categories thing that we totally did not have before, which makes it possible, obviously, to see the tools by category. So, for example, as some of you know, there are a number of skits and scripts that have been developed by our awesome folks on the ground in various places to do education in a creative way about the issue of corporate personhood. And right now, if you look at the old site, you can find them kind of on the 4th of July page, because one of them was done for that. You could find another one in the toolkit, and then they're just sort of mattered around, and there's no here nor there about like how to find them, because there isn't a structure for that. But now, anytime a new skit or script is developed, it gets tagged and put in this list right here automatically. And so now you can see all of the ones that exist, just really easily, and somebody can dabble through and pick which ones they want to use, or get a sense of what all the options are. Or if you know exactly which one you want, but you didn't print it out, you can come right here and very quickly find it. Similarly, I'll just pick another example, resolutions. Right now there's just the example resolutions here, but there's also other tools that just haven't been plugged in yet on how to pass a resolution. But, one of the questions that we get constantly are questions about what's the model resolution language for a ballot initiative versus a city council. So it'll all be just right here at your fingertips, all the resources around resolutions. So hopefully you're as excited about this as I am. Vince is asking, does the organizational structure one right here include advice about choosing to operate as an unincorporated association or as a corporation, and which section of the Internal Revenue Code to apply for as a nonprofit organization? It doesn't have it like quite as explicit as that, although Vince, we could put that in there. But what this will have in it will include things that are related to that, and then also kind of how to structure your group, and then Probably what would be the most helpful right now that we have is a webinar that I led in September last year on finances and fundraising, which included a lot on structure as well. And each one of the webinars will be tagged per their appropriate section, and the slides will be available too. So if you don't want to watch the whole recording and you want to just go look at the slides, then you'll be able to do that. As we develop more materials, we will put them in the right places, and perhaps the categories will need to grow. So that's something that you can help us with feedback on at the right away. And then also, if there are materials and tools that you have, which I know, a lot of the stuff that's here are things that many of you created, we can put them in here too. So rather than having long lists of kind of narrative about the ways to organize, we're going to have each section be as short as possible and just really have the tools right here. So in a lot of ways, even though it's not the most sexy part of the website, and we've got all these really beautiful graphics that are a lot more eye candy, and not to diminish them at all, I think they'll make a big difference towards drawing people into the effort and giving a look and feel for Move to Amend. This toolkit is where we put a lot of energy and really what led a lot of why we were redesigning the site to make this more useful to you all. So Ruth is asking, if we want to put the new URL for our affiliate page on a flyer, what will the URL be? So all of the URLs, you can't see them because right now the site isn't live actually, so there is no URL, but your URLs for your affiliate pages will be movetoamend.org/ the state abbreviation. So for yours it would be MO and then dash Kansas dash city. So whenever there's a space, there's a dash, and then it's preceded by the state abbreviation. So ours here in Humboldt County will be movetoamend.org /CA for California Humboldt. That was very confusing. I'll send you all a email about this to the affiliate listserv so that you can see it. And then, as I said, we're going to do our best to make it so that if you already have a URL that you have been using, we can have that URL point to your page. So you might not need to change your flyers at all. So that's kind of my overview. I think that I hit everything that I wanted to hit. Is there anybody else who has any questions? And also, is there anything that you would add, Heather? No? Okay. So anybody else have any questions, you can chat, you can type them into the chat, and I'd be happy to answer them. And if you have general questions about Move to Amend, we have a couple of extra minutes, so we could also cover those as well, since I know there's still a number of new folks here who don't have affiliates yet. And at the end of this webinar, like when it closes, there'll be a survey, and we always do a feedback survey at the end of every webinar, but this one I changed the questions a little bit to be particular to this webinar and the website. So I'd love it if you'd take a couple minutes to give us your feedback. So let's see. Oop, now there are questions. Let me go back there. So, hey Scott from Colorado, can affiliates use Move to Amend Salsa features via this website? So what Scott is asking about is our Salsa database, and that is separate from the website, but coming very soon on the heels of our website launch. And so it won't be via this website, but our affiliates will have access to Move to Amend Salsa database for your locale very soon, this month. And what we will have is when you sign into the Move to Amend website with your account, there'll be a link to the Salsa page as well, so that you can just really quickly come in here and then get there if you want to do it that way. We'll have to do a training on all that because it's kind of complicated, so stay tuned for details. Let's see what else we've got here. Doug from Ventura, I need the email list or info from when David Cobb spoke in Ventura. Doug, if you could send us an email, we can get that to you at info@movetoamend.org. We'll work with you to figure that out. Okay, Michael, you knew this would come. When will we be able to add petition signers and extract lists, do mass mailings, etc.? So, Michael, that is tied in with Scott's question on the database, and totally reasonable question. We had to kind of put that aside a little bit in order to really finish the database because we were also upgrading to Drupal 7, and that was a bit of a learning experience since Jeanette had never used Drupal 7 before, so we did run into some snafus in terms of how we had planned the site to be. So this month, I'm not positive exactly when. I mean, the Salsa database is working, but it's not working yet for affiliates to be able to use. And we're working with Salsa to get those things resolved. So as soon as possible, in the next few weeks. Max from Round Lake Park, Illinois, do you have a problem with the affiliates keeping their own websites? We'd really prefer affiliates not to have separate websites. We are not going to prohibit affiliates from having separate websites, but as I said, it's much easier for users, which is who I think our priority audience should be, to have all of this in one place. And then also, if affiliates are going to have a separate website, we are going to require you to keep this page updated. And so it just means more work for you to be double entering announcements and double entering press coverage and events and things like that. So since we're all volunteers, my strong suggestion would be to minimize your work and to work within the framework that we've laid out, which really meets, we combed over a lot of affiliate web pages in order to figure out how you were using your websites so that we would have the pieces we would have the pieces for you that you already are using. Okay, so somebody is asking what the affiliate website address will be. So let me just give you an example. So an example of what the affiliate web page's address will be, don't go there because you're not going to find anything, but will be that. Or it actually might be that is what, if you go there, you might find the current page. I can't remember if it's different, but that is how the addresses will look. What about discussion forums on local pages or to be used for local organizations? That's one piece that we don't have, discussion forums. Phil from Gainesville, I know that that's something of interest to you. And that's not to say that that couldn't be built, but we wanted to prioritize getting the educational information out first. And there are also tools that you could use that would be kind of off our site that you could link to from your page, because in your description you'll have a lot of latitude of what you put and how and so you certainly could add a link there to a discussion forum that and using another software, for example, until we have potentially the capacity to do that on our own site. Will there be, John from Cornell, will there be capabilities on donation or section to accept PayPal or links, etc.? That's something that we still need to work out. That's a really good question, John. And actually we haven't resolved that piece of kind of how and if you could put your own PayPal link. And so let's figure that out together and work. I know that you are part of a affiliate already, so we will, that'll be a conversation that we should have in the next couple months after we launch and we kind of figure out what else is needed. Veronica, hey Veronica, from Redwood City. When do we expect to launch the new site? My fingers crossed hope is that we will launch it Monday or Tuesday next week. There's still a lot of content to plug in here, and there's a couple bugs, and so we don't want to launch it till we're ready, but definitely by the end of next week, and we're really pushing hard to have it be Monday or Tuesday next week. Don Franklin, can our local Occupy group join the affiliations? If so, how to? That is a great question, John, and the answer is yes. So you can, let's see, probably the best place to find this is to go to I'll show you the site here, but on the current site, this information exists already. So if you go to movetoamend.org/affiliate, you can currently find our affiliate application, and there's information about how to affiliate and kind of what the different options are. We have partner affiliates, which are already existing organizations, like chapters of organizations, or there are several Occupy groups that have become partner affiliates. There are also several Occupy groups who have become regular affiliates, and the choice is sort of up to you. Most of the Occupies that have become regular affiliates, which is the majority of the Occupy groups who have joined Move to Amend, have set up like a working group of their Occupy group to become the Move to Amend affiliate. And the application is on the site at movetoamend.org/affiliate. And for our purposes, we treat partner affiliates and local affiliates the exact same way. And the application is very similar. And what we just ask is for you to fill it out, and then we do an orientation call with new affiliates. And the details are all on the site about kind of what is required and what we offer. So what I'm showing you right now is the same information that is on the Move to Amend site currently, with information about how to affiliate. And if you have any questions, the email address that's showing right now on your screen is the best one to send an email to and let us know what your questions are. Let's see. So, Doug from Ventura, are we going to get a lot of help putting together our affiliate page when we get to that point? I think you'll find that putting together your affiliate page is really easy. It's actually, I mean, it looks very pretty, but all you need to do is just fill in the information into fields, and we'll give everybody accounts, and I'll do another webinar just for affiliates on how to walk you through it, and you could be, there with your computer as I'm talking. Let me really quickly just go back to the Kansas City groups page to show you. What you will need is somebody in your group who's comfortable using a computer and a web browser. You do not need to have an expert. You don't need to have a Drupal programmer or somebody with any kind of web development experience, but you do need somebody who's comfortable with a computer or a couple people to be your team to keep your site up, your page updated. So the kinds of things that you'll need to fill in will be this logo, which we're going to figure out a way to kind of make a one for you if you can't do it. That'll have a flavor of yours, but it'll be relatively simple for us to make. And then we'll set you up with the contact info already there and the date established, and then there'll be a kind of standard description that you can replace over if you want, or you can just leave there. And then adding local partners is really easy. It's just typing in their names in the right field on the page, and then what their URL is so that there's a link. And then adding announcements and adding events and adding press coverage are all really easy. It's just filling out the fields, and we'll walk you through all of that. So you don't need to design anything except for maybe the logo if there's somebody in your group who can do that. And if there isn't, then we'll make sure your page looks good anyway. And let's see, the URL for the new website. So there is no URL for the new website yet. It's not up. The new website URL will be the same as the old one, movetoamend.org. And it'll be up Monday or Tuesday next week is our real hope and expectation. And then everything will just all of the old stuff will go away and be incorporated into the new site. So until then, as soon as this is over, nobody will be able to see this new site. And for all the affiliates who are asking about like what your URL will be for your affiliate page, I'll send you an email tonight or tomorrow just so you can have a heads up about that. So is there anybody else who has any questions about the new site or Move to Amend related things? Looks like we're pretty good, and we're just about on time. So great. Let's see. Really quickly here, I do want to I wanted to let you know, here we go, about what the next couple webinars are. And I don't have them memorized, so give me 1 second while I look that up. And with the new site, there'll be a category on the bottom of the toolkit, which will be where you can just quickly see them all. But in the meantime, so in April, our webinars are always the first Tuesday of every month. So in April 3rd, at the same time, we'll be letting you know about our Declare Your Independence from Corporate Rule 2012 campaign. And then on Tuesday, May 1st, we'll do a webinar on building alliances with communities of color. And that one will have a guest co-host, George Friday, who many of you know is on the Move to Amend Executive Committee. She is part of the Independent Progressive Politics Network and is also staff for the Bill of Rights Defense organization. And she is an experienced anti-oppression trainer and anti-racism trainer. And so she'll be doing that webinar with us in May. All right. Let's see. Dale is asking, I see you use the Firefox browser. Do you feel that's more secure, and is that a consideration at all? I think in terms of security, I mean, I'm not too worried about it. For this site, all of our donation pages and pages where people are submitting their information are securely hosted on Falsa's page, on Falsa's server, which is our database server. I'm using Firefox because that is the browser that the website looks the very best in, and that's one of the things that we're working on in these last few days is trying to make the site look the same as much as possible on every web browser, which those of you who have done web development know that that's not that easy. But Firefox is definitely the friendliest for Drupal pages in terms of what my experience, and so that's why I'm showing it to you here. So thanks, Phil in Gainesville. I'm glad the toolkit arrangement looks especially helpful. I'm glad you're excited about it because, as I said, I am too. So any other last questions? If not, I just want to remind you before you sign off that there's a quick survey, and if you would just take a moment to give us feedback, I'd really appreciate it. And of course, after we launch, there'll still be the need to probably tweak things here and there. And so we'll be taking a running list of feedback, and if we can't incorporate it right away, we'll definitely put it in the file for the next time that we do more significant changes to the website. I really want to thank everybody who's an affiliate for your patience and encouragement in this whole process. And again, thanks to Heather and Jeanette for all of the work that everyone's been doing. This has taken a tremendous amount of work, and we really are excited about it. I think it'll be so much better for Move to Amend, and I hope you really, really like it too. So let us know what you think, both in the evaluation that I'm about to direct you to, and also next week after it launches. And we'll send a blast to the whole list when it does launch, so it's not like it'll creep up on you. You'll know. So have a great night, everybody, and look forward to the next time our paths cross, whether it's the next webinar in April or before then. Take care and keep on moving to Amend.